take them up in roll call?
I think so. I was just going to note that we have reached quorum. So Chair Sapien, you are welcome to start the meeting when you are ready.
Thank you so much, Hannah. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, everybody, to this month's Transit Committee. Good afternoon. As a reminder, please turn off your mics. I'm sorry. As a reminder, please turn your mics on and clearly state your name before speaking to ensure that members of the audience can hear you. And please mute your mics when not speaking to eliminate feedback noise. As a reminder, phone attendees will need to press *6 to unmute themselves. Because this is a virtual meeting, a roll call vote will be taken for each action item on the agenda. We will now begin the meeting with the roll call of all members. Hannah, please do roll call.
Thank you, Chair Sapien. I'll start the roll with Jill Dusenberry.
Here.
Thank you. Matt Dudley.
This is Harold C. Wentz sitting in for Matt. He's sick today.
Thank you so much, Harold. And Sean Banda.
Present.
Thank you. Jason Crampton. Jose Macias.
Present.
Thank you. Jeff Graves.
Here.
Thank you. Don Coomer. Nathan Williams.
I'm here.
Thank you. Thomas Quigley.
Here.
Thank you. Christine McMurdy.
I'm here.
Thank you. Tony Flood.
Here.
Thank you. Reed Kempton.
Here.
Thank you. Jody Sorrell.
Here.
Thank you. William Beloit.
Here.
Thank you. Tara Harmon.
Present.
Thank you. Jan Martin.
Present.
Thank you. Salvatore Lapuma.
Here.
Thank you. Ratna Corpella.
Here.
Thank you. Kristen Taylor.
Here.
Thank you. Sam Stevenson.
Here.
Thank you. Gabe Elias.
Here.
Thank you. Carol Ketcherside.
Here.
Thank you. Grant Anderson.
Here.
Thank you. And Chair Sapien.
Present.
Thank you. Are there any members that I missed?
Hi, Hannah.
All
this
right.
is Dawn Coomer from Gila River Indian Community. I'm here.
Thank you, Dawn. I've noted your attendance. And Chair, we have quorum. You may proceed.
Perfect. Thank you so much. The next item we have is a call to the audience. An opportunity for public comment on the agenda was provided ahead of the meeting. MAG staff, do we have any public comments that have been received?
Chair Sapien, we have not received any public comment.
Okay, thank you so much. Item number 3, Audra Kester-Thomas, MAG Transportation Planning Program Manager, will provide us with the report on activities of general interest. Audra?
Thank you, Chair Sapien, members of Transit Committee. Pleased to be with you today. Just a few quick items for you. Wanted to note that we are in the final preparations for our annual joint meeting of Transit Committee and the Active Transportation Committee. Will be held next month, June 5th at 1 p.m. And we are hosting this in person at the MAG offices in Saguaro. We will also, of course, provide a hybrid opportunity, but we're excited post-pandemic to invite folks back and thought that the joint meeting in particular was a good opportunity to do so. So if you have any questions, certainly don't hesitate to reach out, but hope to see a lot of you in office next month. And then finally, as you are all aware, we continue to endeavor on successful enabling legislation that will direct a referendum to Maricopa County voters as soon as possible for the extension of Proposition 400. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to myself or John Bullen after the meeting. That completes my report. Happy to hand it back over to you, Chair Sapien.
Thank you so much, Audra. Appreciate the update. Next, we move on to item number 4. It is the approval of the April 3rd, 2023 Transit Committee meeting minutes. Do any members of the committee have questions or corrections to the minutes? If not, can I get a motion to approve the minutes and a second? And please state your name as you do that.
McMurdy Goodyear, move to approve the minutes.
Anderson, second.
Thank you both so much. Hannah, we'll do a roll call of the vote. Please indicate how you vote on the minutes.
Thank you, Chair Sapien. Excuse me, I will start the roll with Jill Dusenberry.
Aye.
Thank you. Harold Seguenza.
Aye.
Thank you. Sean Banda.
Aye.
Thank you. Jose Macias.
Aye.
Thank you. Jeff Graves.
Aye.
Thank you. Don Coomer.
Approve.
Thank
Approve.
you. Nathan Williams.
Aye.
Thank you. Thomas Quigley.
Aye.
Thank you. Christine McMurdy.
Aye.
Thank you. Tony Flood.
Aye.
Thank you. Reed Kempton.
Aye.
Thank you. Jody Sorrell.
Aye.
Thank you. William Beloit.
Aye.
Thank you. Tara Harmon.
I'll abstain. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Jan Martin. Salvatore LaPuma.
Aye.
Thank you. Ratna Korpella.
Aye.
Thank you. Kristen Taylor.
Aye.
Thank you. Sam Stevenson.
I'll abstain, thanks.
Thank you. Gabe Elias.
Aye.
Thank you. Carol Ketcherside.
Aye.
Thank you. Grant Anderson.
Aye.
Thank you. Chair Sapien.
Aye.
Thank you. Are there any members that I missed?
Hi, Hannah, this is Jason Crampton. I vote aye.
Thank you, Jason. And I've also noted your attendance. And with that, Chair, we have the motion passes.
Thank you so much, everybody. Appreciate it. Next, we move item number 5. Item number 5 is the fiscal year 2023 5310 program recommendations for the Phoenix-Mesa urbanized area. Item will be presented by Didi Gastea, MAG Human Services Transportation Program Manager. And this item is on the agenda for action. Didi, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair and members of the committee, and good afternoon. I will be presenting on the Section 5310 Enhanced Mobility of Seniors and Individuals with Transportation Grant Program for listening for the Phoenix-Mesa urbanized area. Next slide. The Section 5310 program makes funding available for capital and operating projects to support transportation services to meet the needs of older adults and individuals with disabilities when public transportation is insufficient, unavailable, or inappropriate. The eligible applicants are private nonprofit organizations, public agencies where no viable private nonprofit organizations are available, tribal governments. Eligible populations are agencies serving older adults age 65 and older, and agencies serving persons with disabilities. Next slide. In 2014, the MAG Regional Council approved MAG to coordinate and program the Section 5310 process with the City of Phoenix as the designated recipient. Since 2014, the region has received over $33 million from this program and it awarded over 300 project requests. This program is for the Phoenix-Mesa urbanized area. We received over 25 agencies applied with 39 project requests for a total of 4.6 million. I apologize, that is an error on the 4.8, but it's 4.6. MAG and the City of Phoenix staff conducted a 2-week internal review of all applications to ensure that all of the applications moving forward met federal requirements and regional threshold. The MAG Elderly and Persons with Disability Transportation Ad Hoc Committee reviewed all the eligible applications. Next slide. The EPD committee utilized the evaluation rubric outlined in the application handbook and following the criteria that the project requests had the capability and experience to perform the requested project. They met programming objectives. The budget was appropriate to the project, and the participation in regional coordination efforts, which is federally required. Applicants threshold required 70 points to move forward to the awarding process. And the priority listing is based on the final ranking of all applications. This FTA section 5310 requires that no less than 55% of the project requests go to traditional capital request, which includes a 10% administrative fee. Excuse me. Next slide. The priority listing was provided in your packet today, and this is a quick summary of what is reflected. We received 21 applications for traditional request at $660,000. We received 9 application requests for vehicles, that is including both expanding replacement vehicles for a total of 22 vehicles. Other eligible to request, which is the operating and capital projects that exceed the requirements of ADA. We received 8 applications. And the administrative costs for the total of $4,696,288 for the total federal request. Next slide. We received federal apportionment of $5.4 million. We did have a total project request of 4.1, including the 10% administrative cost, which reflected the $4.6 million in federal request. We will have a carryover going into the 2024 application cycle of $740,000. I would like to note that last year we did also have a carryover of over $800,000, but that carryover was drawn down due to the cost of the vehicles procured during the application cycle. Next slide, please. I also wanted to add, last year, the estimated cost of our cutaway vehicles was from $86,000 to this year's estimated cost of $135,000, which drew down that fund of the carryover. And this item is for action to recommend the priority listing of projects for the 2023 Section 5310 enhanced mobility of seniors and individuals with disabilities for the Phoenix-Mesa urbanized area. That concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Dee Dee. Are there any questions or comments from the committee at this time on this item?
Hi, Mr. Chair, this is Jason. Dee Dee, I remember in the past, this program used to be very competitive. Seemed like we had to turn away several applications. I guess I'm curious what's changed since then. Are there fewer applications? Is there more funding in the queue? Just wondering how there's a, I mean, it's good that we don't have to turn people away, but just wondering.
Definitely. Thank you, Jason and members of the committee. Yes, we did receive a extremely big increase from 2021. We were going in at 3.1, which was our last amount, and then we jumped with the Bill Act. We jumped to 5.1 last year. This year we have 5.4. So there is an extreme increase in our funding. But the other thing was the cost of the procurement of the vehicles. That greatly increased. As I noted, it went from 86,000 from last year to 135,000. And with that jump is an increase in the match that our applicants would have to cover. Also, what we noted was a lot of the agencies are still coming out of COVID and opening up their services. So they are slowly increasing. So we saw a little hesitancy of requesting vehicles. But I think the combination of the cost and regaining services kind of added to our the number of it. Well, we actually increased the number of agencies that applied. We had 23 agencies last year requesting 42 projects. We saw an increase of 25 agencies applying, but only 39 project requests. And a lot of that was not vehicles, but preventive maintenance. Thank you.
Thanks.
Any other questions or comments from the committee? I have a quick question, but wanted to give everyone an opportunity first. Okay. Dee Dee, at some point, I know you probably won't have this offhand, but I would like to know, ever since the management of this program was handed off from ADOT to City of Phoenix, what has been the growth since that happened? Because I get a feeling that the amount of recipients and vehicles is significantly higher than when we first took it over. And so some point, I think we'll need to have a discussion about our capacity to continue managing this with the resources that we have without necessarily having to have a conversation about that, because I know I signed the disposal requests as well as the title for a lot of these vehicles, and it just seems like it's grown significantly. And so I just want to make sure we're having a discussion at the appropriate juncture as to time, resources, staffing that it takes to manage this. So sometime in the future, we can have that discussion.
Thank you, Chair, members of the committee. Yes, definitely we have seen a jump. We actually seen a jump of the number of agencies that have applied from when the MAG region did take on this application process. But I can look into the numbers and give you definitely some numbers about the growth of it. And I would just like to also to take this opportunity to thank MAG staff, Wendy Miller and the rest of her staff for being such a great supporter in this program. And we work in coordination to ensure that we are meeting compliancy and that we provide oversight to this program. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Yeah, my team talks to me regularly about this program, and I just know over the years, it's the numbers of subrecipients and vehicles have slowly crept up. And for those folks that don't know, we not only help with the grant management aspect of things, but my vehicle team also works very closely with each recipient when it comes to ordering the vehicles, receiving the vehicles, signing off, that they're good to go and to put into service. And then we subsequently do some oversight relative to vehicle maintenance and certifications and things like that. And that's the only reason I'm bringing this up, is because it has become a bit of a bear to handle. And my gut tells me it is because of the number of recipients and vehicles that we now manage versus years past. So we can have that discussion. Thank you so much, Dee Dee.
Thank you.
If we can go back one slide, and I would request a motion and a second from committee members.
This is Carol Ketcherside. I will move it. Kristen and Surprise, I'll second it.
Thank you so much. So we have a motion from Carol and a second from Kristen. Hannah, I assume you will take roll on this one.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I'll start the roll with Jill Dusenberry.
Aye.
Thank you. Harold Seguenza.
Aye.
Thank you. Sean Banda.
Aye.
Thank you. Jason Crampton.
Aye.
Thank you. Jose Macias.
Aye.
Thank you. Jeff Graves.
Aye.
Thank you. Don Coomer.
Approve.
Thank you. Nathan Williams.
Aye.
Thank you. Thomas Quigley.
Aye.
Thank you. Christine McMurdy.
Aye.
Thank you. Tony Flood.
Aye.
Thank you. Reed Kempton.
Aye. Sorry, the space bar didn't didn't unmute me that time.
Thank you. Jody Sorrell.
Aye.
Thank you. William Beloit.
Aye.
Thank you. Tara Harmon.
Aye.
Thank you. Jan Martin. Salvatore LaPuma.
Aye.
Thank you. Ratna Corapella.
Aye.
Thank you. Kristen Taylor.
Aye.
Thank you. Sam Stevenson.
Aye.
Thank you. Gabe Elias.
Aye.
Thank you. Carol Ketcherside.
Aye.
Thank you. Grant Anderson.
Aye.
Thank you. Chair Sapien.
Aye.
Thank you. Are there any members that I missed? Hearing none, Chair Sapien, the motion passes.
Thank you so much, Hannah. Thank you for everyone participating in that. We next move on to item number 6, Avondale Goodyear Urbanized Area Operating Assistance Funding Request. It will be presented by Steph Stearns, MAG Transportation Planner. This item is on the agenda for information, discussion, and possible action. Steph?
Thank you, Chair Sapien. Pleased to be here today. Like you said, this information or this item is for information, discussion, and potential action. Next slide, please. Thank you. So before we dive in, here's just a quick overview of what we'll be getting into today so that we can understand the purpose of today's request. We will get into the roles and responsibilities, the flow of federal funds to the MAG region, as well as the regional transit programming policies. Next slide, please. The Federal Transit Administration, or FTA, disperses funds to eligible areas. It is then MAG's role to oversee the allocation of federal funds in the region. This includes for both the Phoenix-Mesa and the Avondale Goodyear urbanized areas. MAG is also tasked with maintaining and updating the Transportation Improvement Program, or TIP, as well as providing concurrence on FTA grants. MAG works closely with our regional partners, including the City of Phoenix as the designated or direct recipient of FTA funds. And then we have Valley Metro, who is the regional public transportation authority for the region and who manages the TLCP under Proposition 400. Next slide, please. So some urbanized area history where we're at based on 2010. So like I mentioned, FTA allocates funding to eligible areas. The areas in the MAG region as of the 2010 census are shown on the map on your screen. We have the Phoenix-Mesa area in this blue color, and then Avondale Goodyear is in the peach, tan, pink, kind of depending on whatever your screen looks like today. Phoenix-Mesa has been designated as a large area with a population greater than 200,000. Avondale Goodyear, and as a reminder, these are as of the 2010 census. So as of the 2010 census, Avondale Goodyear designated as a small area. The apportionments that we received in FY 2023, so this current year, are the last year that will be operating under the 2010 census designations. Or another way to say it is that beginning in fiscal year 24, which starts October 1 of this year, we will transition over to the 2020 census designations. Next slide, please. As with everything that MAG does, we let policy dictate our decision-making. MAG follows the regional programming guidelines for federal transit formula funds when programming transit funds. Specifically, Section 800 of the guidelines does detail the Avondale-Goodyear urbanized area and eligible expenses of the funds. Highlighted here on your screen is operating assistance. This is what we'll be getting into next. So next slide, please. Federal guidelines allow for federal funds to be spent on transit operations. This is only in small areas, and the federal participation is capped at 50%. So a 50-50 federal and local split is required. Historically, the transit operations that have been funded in the Avondale-Goodyear UZA are the Super Grid routes 3 and 17, express routes 562 and 563, a portion of the Southwest Valley paratransit costs, and the Zoom circulator. Next slide, please. So an operating assistance fund balance has been established. We know that with the 2020 census changes coming, that funds will no longer be eligible for operating assistance. So a fund balance has been established to ease the transition from 50% federally funded operations to 100% locally funded operations. This will allow for member agencies to allocate local funding for transit operations where federal funding had previously been used. And there's an estimated 3 to 4 years worth of operating assistance in fund balance. Very key here is that providing funding for service through the end of Proposition 400, that would be through 2026, remains priority. Proposition 400 collections actually end December 31 of 2025, but the service would go through 2026. And then another important note here is that any funds that are programmed to microtransit through this agenda item will reduce the amount of general operating assistance that is programmed into the fund balance. Final thing here, important caveat, is that this estimate is based on current service levels, current contracts, and market conditions, so definitely subject to change with time. Next slide, please. A little refresh on what microtransit is. Microtransit operates much like the transportation network companies, TNCs that we've come to know and love, such as Uber and Lyft. This works when riders download an app on their smartphone. They will request an app, and then a vehicle will come and services provided in a defined area. These trips can either be door to door or curb to curb. And microtransit typically works best in serving low density areas or completing that first last mile of transit trips. Next slide, please. So how did we get to where we're at today? Microtransit was identified as a possible service type in the Avondale-Goodyear Transit Study that was completed back in 2021. We came through just last year. Regional Council had approved $1 million for the microtransit pilot. This was last year, April of 22. The cities of Avondale and Goodyear began operating their microtransit service this past November. And that brings us to today's request, where we are requesting funds to extend the pilot program. This will allow for the cities of Avondale and Goodyear to continue operating service, to continue gathering data. The assessment of the pilot is ongoing, and results of the assessment will be provided at a later date. Next slide, please. Chair Sapien, that concludes my presentation. The action requested is shown on the screen. However, I'm happy to take any questions that members of the committee might have.
Thank you so much, Steph. Do any members of the committee have any questions for MAG staff?
Jesus, this is Jody.
Go right ahead.
I do, and I'm not even sure this is relatable or if this is connected. I'm just kind of curious. So, and because I know microtransit is different, but on the bus side, when you do a pilot, I believe it's if you can do the pilot for I think it's 2 years before you have to do an FTA allows you to cease that pilot before you have to, then if you keep it going, you have to do a Title VI. Does that apply to this microtransit, like that pilot window?
Chair Sapien, Mr. Rel, members of the committee, thank you for the question. As far as what the FTA is considering the pilot here, our understanding is the 1 to 3 years. So we would definitely look into if the service were to be changed, eliminated, what have you, any implications, checking with the feds, making sure that we're in line there.
Okay, and then how long are we extending the pilot to? I think I missed that.
It's for 1 year.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, can I jump in? This is Carol.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Carol.
I want to say to that, to Ms. Sorrell's question, be part of implementing the microtransit service was an elimination of the Zoom route, and the elimination of the Zoom route required a Title VI analysis. So that sort of work has been done. I don't know if something more might be needed after 2 years of a pilot, but the topic has been addressed in that area. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Thank you, Carol. Any other members of the committee have any questions? So I had a question, and I don't know if this is for MAG or Avondale Goodyear staff. So the pilot service started in November of 2022. My assumption is the first pot of money would take it through November of 2023. And this additional year's funding then takes it through November of 2024. Am I interpreting that correctly?
Chair Sapien, yes, that is correct.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And then the other question I would have, and this might be more for Avondale Goodyear staff. In reading the report, there are metrics about passengers per day, passengers per vehicle hour, et cetera. One of the things that was a bit of a surprise to me was the cost per ride. The 5247 in Avondale, I think I was kind of expecting it would be on par with paratransit, but the 108.97 per trip in Goodyear kind of was a little bit surprising to me. So I'm just curious, for Avondale and Goodyear staff, have there been discussions with your management or elected leaders as to what you're looking to achieve relative to, you know, averages, or what's going to be kind of the deciding factors? Is it going to be more passengers, or, you know, is it going to be the cost per trip as well? Like, is there going to be any weight given to one or the other, or are you guys just purely in pilot?
Hey, Sus, this is Christine. Yeah, it's 6 months in. We're seeing gradual growth, which is pretty much what we expected for the demographic in Goodyear. It's a lot of choice ridership versus need, which is the difference between Avondale and Goodyear. And I would invite anybody to take a look at that, because you could not get a better textual example of how demographics feed into transit. But the reality is, at the 6 month mark, when I visited the Goodyear City Council, they had an argument over who was going to get the expansion. So I appreciate the way you phrase that, Jesus. They're definitely looking at the customer experience, not so much the dollar amount, but it's my personal mission to bring that down. And it's just a matter of marketing, which is, I would say to anybody, and I'm sure Jason and Kristen can appreciate this, but you have to actually continue to market through the life of the program to remind people that the service is there. I can say that I think a lot of people in Goodyear are just taking it for granted that it's available to them if they need it, versus in Avondale where you really do need it. So it's been an interesting evolution from start to where we are now. And I can say that the ridership is definitely growing gradually month by month.
Thank you, Christine. Yeah, I'll be interested to see, you know, do you bring that cost down by increased share rides, or, you know, what might be some things that help that number come down? Because I gotta admit, that was a bit eye-opening for me. I expected it more to be on par with paratransit. But when I saw that number, it was a bit surprising. Because we get approached all the time to try these out. And, you know, I gotta say my hesitation is the cost per trip, you know, that I've seen in other study areas across the US.
Yeah, and keeping in mind too that our location here and the zone was specifically picked because of the activity centers and how appealing they are for folks that actually need those services. So it's always great to see that, you know, you're keeping your customer base in your city and they're taking advantage of all the services that you work to provide. But going forward, I think the next thing we're going to do is get to the businesses and explain how first mile, last mile works, because prior to this service arriving, that's a concept that most businesses don't really know about and understand. So that goes to my point about marketing. So it's been really interesting, and everybody that's ridden the service, I mean, our approval out of 5 stars is always 4.9. We're very, very impressed with the performance of the service in general, and it's just a matter of working harder to fill the vehicles.
Okay, thank you so much.
You bet.
This is Harold from Avondale. I want to echo a little bit with what Christine had mentioned. Yeah, the demographics and the adoption rate of this service are completely different for both Avondale and Goodyear. Within Avondale, obviously, we've had the Zoom for many years, and it serviced primarily Avondale with a portion of Goodyear and Tolleson in there as well. So there was a high level of adoption within Avondale that showed our costs to be much lower. The other point of this is also that with Zoom, our council and our leadership were looking at the direction that Zoom was heading, and in regards to performance, as well as the cost. So we're not looking at the total cost per riders at this moment as a measure, because we're kind of transitioning still from a circulator service now to this service. And 6 months in, the feedback so far has been very positive in regards to the service. Whereas at the year mark, I think we can start putting those benchmarks in place. We have an understanding of what the service can do, how it's operating. So I think after the first year mark, we could definitely start looking at those items, as you had mentioned, and use our metrics and information as such to make decisions moving forward. But at this moment, because we're moving away from a circulator service that it's performing poorly and sticker shock when it comes to the price as well, this overall, our council and our leadership sees as a much cheaper alternative at this moment than the circulator, as has been proposed for the prices that we've received. So yes, in the future, we definitely want to start looking at that and how we can increase ridership. Again, echo Christine what she said: marketing. If everyone knows Matt, he loves his swag, and we continue to put that swag out there as much as we can. But it has been effective, I think, in our ridership and understanding that there is a service that's available. And that is very true to what Christina mentioned. In Avondale, what we learned was it wasn't necessarily a choice for folks, to either drive their vehicle and to get to a destination, but we've learned that it's more of a necessity to get to work, to get to the different locations that they need to throughout the city. With our overlapping zone with Goodyear, that it has been very successful. And I do want to point out just one difference between the ride hail services, such as your Ubers and Lyfts, compared to microtransit. And yes, microtransit has many flavors, but the flavor that we chose to utilize here is virtual stops instead of a curb to curb service. So we don't drop people off directly at their destination or pick them up directly at their home, but we have over, and Christine, please correct me, the number of stops that Goodyear has. I'm not sure exactly how much, but I know Avondale has shy of 300. And I believe Christine, I'm not sure how many Goodyear has. If you want to chime in there.
I've never counted, but our zone is bigger by land base, not so much activity center. So I think it's between 300 and 400, but I don't really know off the top of my head.
So we did that purposefully because we still wanted to have the public transit feel to it instead of the and the shared ride component as well to the service. That's very important for us, and that's one of the key indicators that we're looking at to see, are we actually the percentage of the rides that are being performed, are they shared rides, yes or no? And that's very important for us to differentiate what our microtransit service is to the TMCs, to those other services as well. It's not just a personalized thing, but it is still a form of public transit that we want to continue to show that it is effective, that could be effective here in the region.
All right. Thank you both so much for that additional discussion. Really appreciate it. All right. This item is for action. So with that discussion and presentation, I would entertain a motion to approve this and a second, please.
Kristen and Surprise, I move to approve.
Second, Jason and Chandler.
Thank you, Kristen and Jason. With that,
Chair Sapien, I think we lost your audio for a second, but I'm happy to start the roll, starting with.
yes, please do.
Thank you. Starting with Jill Dusenberry.
Abstain.
Thank you. Harold Seguenza.
Aye.
Thank you. Sean Banda.
Aye.
Thank you. Jason Crampton.
Aye.
Thank you. Jose Macias.
Aye.
Thank you. Jeff Graves.
Aye.
Thank you. Don Coomer.
Approve.
Thank you. Nathan Williams.
Aye.
Thank you. Thomas Quigley.
Aye.
Thank you. Christine McMurdy.
Aye.
Thank you. Tony Flood.
Aye.
Thank you. Reed Kempton.
Aye.
Thank you. Jody Sorrell. William Beloit.
Aye.
Thank you. Tara Harmon.
Aye.
Thank you. Jan Martin.
Aye.
Thank you. Salvatore LaPuma.
Aye.
Thank you. Ratna Korapella. Thank you. Kristen Taylor.
Aye.
Thank you. Sam Stevenson.
Aye.
Thank you. Gabe Elias.
Aye.
Thank you. Carol Ketcherside.
Aye.
Thank you. Grant Anderson.
Aye.
Thank you. Chair Sapien.
Aye.
Thank you. And are there any members that I missed? All right. Hearing none, Chair, the motion passes.
Thank you so much, everybody. That takes us to item number 7. Are there any requests by a committee member for a future agenda item? If not, we'll move on to item number 8, member agency updates. Are there any updates or announcements by any committee members? Hearing none, I wanted to let the group know some of you met our new Assistant Public Transit Director at the last Valley Metro RTAG meeting. Want you to help me welcome Juanita Carver. She is a longtime City of Phoenix employee, comes to us from the Information Technology Department. She will now be over our financial, procurement, and information technology areas in a similar role that Ken Kessler had when he was with the City of Phoenix. So some of you will be meeting her in the weeks to come. This is her second week, but she's hitting the ground running and knows the City of Phoenix processes very well. So that takes us to item number 9, a reminder to committee members that the Transit Committee and Active Transportation Committee joint meeting is scheduled to occur in person at MAG offices on June 5th, 2023 at 1 p.m. And with no further business, the meeting of the MAG Transit Committee is now adjourned at 1:44 p.m. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great week.
Thank you.
You.